Let's get right into it. Number 10. Designer sunglasses. So you're at the mall, staring at those $300 Gucci sunglasses, thinking they must be made of some magical material that makes them worth more than your weekly grocery budget. The truth is, almost every designer sunglass brand you can think of, Gucci, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, they're all made by the same company, Luxottica. One Italian company has basically monopolized the entire eyewear industry, and these designer sunglasses, they cost about $15 to make. I'm not talking about cheap knockoffs. I'm talking about those same luxury frames you're paying hundreds for. The markup on these things is insane. We're talking 2,000% in some cases. But it gets worse. Luxottica doesn't just make the sunglasses. They own most of the stores that sell them too. Sunglass Hut, Lens Crafters, Pearl Vision, all Luxottica. So when you think you're shopping around for the best deal, you're actually just walking from one Luxottica store to another. It's like playing Monopoly, except they own all the properties, and you're the little metal dog getting charged luxury tax every time you land somewhere. And those different styles between brands, they are often the exact same frame with a different logo slapped on the side. So next time someone tries to tell you those $400 Prada sunglasses are an investment in quality, just remember you're basically paying for a sticker on a $15 pair of frames. Number 9. Razor blade cartridges. Those fancy razor cartridges that cost $20 for a pack of 4. You're basically paying caviar prices for something that costs less than cat food to make. It costs them about 5 cents to make a cartridge they sell to you for $5. That's a 10,000% markup. Even luxury handbags don't have that kind of profit margin. Back in the day, people used safety razors, simple razors where you'd just pop in a new blade that cost pennies. Then, in the 1970s, companies realized they couldn't make much money selling cheap razor blades, so they invented the cartridge system and convinced everyone it was revolutionary technology. It's the classic give 'em the razor, sell 'em the blades model, except they're not even selling you the razor handle cheap anymore. Those moisture strips and precision trimmers they keep adding, they cost almost nothing to add. It's like putting racing stripes on a bicycle and calling it a sports car. Here's a fun fact. Gillette's profit margin is often higher than Apple's. You can still buy those old school safety razors. A pack of 100 blades costs about $10, and that's enough to last you a year or more. And they actually give you a better shave because you're using a fresh, sharp blade more often, instead of trying to stretch that $5 cartridge for a month. You're not paying for better technology, you're paying for better marketing. Number 8. Mattresses. You walk into a mattress store and suddenly you're hit with prices that make your credit card want to crawl back into your wallet and hide. They're telling you this fancy mattress costs $3,000 because it has revolutionary sleep technology and aerospace-grade memory foam. Spoiler alert, it's mostly air and basic materials that cost them maybe $300 to make. These companies are playing a game of confuse the customer until they give up and overpay. Every store has different names for basically the same mattress, and that's not an accident. The Sweet Dreams Ultra Plush at one store is magically renamed the Cloud 9 Deluxe at another. Same mattress, different name, which makes it impossible to compare prices. Their exclusive models are like limited edition Pokemon cards, except it's just regular foam with fancy marketing. The actual materials are some steel springs, foam, and fabric. That's it. The foam they use costs them about as much as a large pizza, but they'll tell you it's engineered by NASA or infused with cooling crystals from the Swiss Alps. Most of these mattresses are marked up by 900%. You're basically paying for their aggressive marketing and that guy at the store who keeps telling you to really feel the lumbar support. The real price of a quality mattress should be around $500 to $800. Anything more than that, and you're paying for marketing fluff. And don't even get me started on the warranties. They have more loopholes than a bowl of Fruit Loops. That 20-year warranty usually doesn't cover normal wear and tear, which is basically everything that actually happens to a mattress. You're not buying a spaceship. You're buying foam and springs wrapped in fabric. Number 7. Perfume. That fancy perfume ad where some celebrity is running through Paris in slow motion probably cost more to make than all the perfume in that store combined. The magical scented water in your $300 bottle, it costs about $3 to make. The actual liquid inside is cheaper than the cardboard box it comes in. Most perfumes use synthetic ingredients that cost pennies to produce. That jasmine scent isn't from flowers picked by monks in some mystical mountain temple. It's made in a lab in New Jersey. The bottle itself only costs about $2 to manufacture. So what are you paying for? Marketing mostly. Those dramatic commercials where someone whispers in French while a horse runs on a beach. That's where your money is going. With celebrity perfumes, you're basically paying $200 for a famous person to say they once smelled this in a meeting. The dirty secret is that some of the most expensive perfumes use the exact same base ingredients as the cheap ones. It's like buying bottled water for $100, because the bottle is sparkly. For every $100 you spend, about $95 goes to marketing, packaging, and middlemen. Next time you see a perfume commercial with someone diving into an ocean of gold while a panther watches, just remember, you're paying for the panther, not the perfume. Number 6. Premium pasta. You're in the grocery aisle, looking at that fancy pasta box that's making your wallet cry. It's got some Italian name that sounds like a Ferrari model. The packaging has more gold trim than your grandma's china collection. They're charging you like it's made from hand-harvested wheat blessed by Italian monks. In reality, unless we're talking about fresh pasta, that $8 box of premium dried pasta is basically the same as the $1 store brand. Both are made from semolina flour and water. That's it. 2 ingredients. The fancy brands will tell you about their bronze dye extrusion process. It sounds impressive, like they're crafting each noodle with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. All it means is they push the dough through a bronze mold, which makes the pasta surface a bit rougher, so sauce sticks better. It's a nice feature, but it doesn't justify a 700% price increase. They'll also throw around terms like slow-dried and traditional methods, which basically means they're taking longer to do what every other pasta maker does anyway. Paying 4 times more for essentially the same product is like buying a designer paper bag. It might look fancier, but it's still just holding your groceries. The real secret to amazing pasta is all in how you cook it and what you put on it. A $1 box of spaghetti with a good sauce will taste better than an $8 box with bad sauce every time. Skip the fancy box with the Italian flag colors and grab the store brand. Use the money you save to buy better ingredients for your sauce. Number 5. Designer paint. You're redecorating your house, scrolling through Instagram, and you see this gorgeous wall color. The influencer swears it's worth every penny of the $150 per gallon price tag. They call it whispered sage at twilight, or something equally poetic. That fancy designer paint is basically the same stuff as regular paint that costs $30 a gallon. The chemical composition is nearly identical. What are you paying for? You're paying for someone to come up with names like Moonlit Cashmere, instead of just calling it light gray. You're also paying for their marketing team to make it look amazing on social media. Paint is paint. The basic ingredients haven't changed much in decades. Pigments to give it color, binders to make it stick, and a liquid carrier. That's it. The expensive brands use the same titanium dioxide for white pigment as the regular brands. They use the same acrylic polymers for binding. They even get their raw materials from the same suppliers. Now, there's definitely a difference between cheap $10 paint and good quality $30 paint. But once you hit that $30 to $40 per gallon sweet spot from a reputable brand, you're getting diminishing returns. Everything above that is mostly marketing and fancy names. No one has ever walked into a room and said, "Wow, the sheer quality of that binder. That must be designer paint." Not even professional painters can tell the difference once it's on the wall. Number 4. Brand name medication. You're at the pharmacy, staring at 2 boxes of headache pills. One has fancy packaging with a smiling person doing yoga. The other looks like it was designed by someone who just discovered Microsoft Paint in 1995. The fancy one costs $21.99. The boring one is $4.99. They are the exact same thing, literally identical down to the molecule. Take Advil. The active ingredient is ibuprofen. That's the magic sauce that actually stops your headache. When you buy generic ibuprofen instead of Advil, you're paying about 80% less for the exact same relief. You're just paying for all those commercials where people are dancing because their headache is gone. Doctors and pharmacists almost always buy the generic versions themselves. It's the same with allergy meds. Claritin costs an arm and a leg, while generic loratadine costs pocket change. It is the same drug. The most shameless example? Triple Z Quill. It's marketed as a special sleep aid that costs about $12. It's actually just diphenhydramine, the exact same active ingredient as Benadryl. The same stuff in generic allergy medicine that costs $4. They just changed the color of the liquid to purple, put a fancy Z in the name, and tripled the price. You're literally paying extra for purple dye. The FDA ensures that generic drugs have the same active ingredients, strength, and effectiveness as their brand name counterparts. Number 3. College textbooks. You're heading to college and your professor says you need the 12th edition of Introduction to Psychology that costs $299. That same book's 11th edition is about $15 on eBay. What changed between editions? They moved some pictures around, updated exactly 2 statistics, and added a paragraph about TikTok addiction. But the real scam is that publishers aren't just printing books anymore. They're selling access codes for online homework. These codes cost about 50 cents to generate, but they'll charge you $100 for them. And the best part is these codes expire after 1 semester, so you can't even sell your book to the next poor soul. Most of this information is completely free online. Yale puts their entire psychology course online for free. MIT has the whole calculus curriculum available for free too. Some professors are required by their universities to assign specific textbooks because the publishers give kickbacks to the school. It's like a protection racket, but with more homework and less broken kneecaps. Always check if your professor allows older editions. Look for international editions. Same book, different country, quarter of the price. And check if your library has a copy. They usually keep a few on reserve for students. Number 2, wedding dresses. You're getting married, and you walk into a bridal shop. The consultant asks about your budget, and you say, $500. She looks at you like you just suggested wearing a trash bag down the aisle. That $3,000 dress you're looking at, it probably cost about $300 to make. Take 2 identical white dresses. Label one as a formal gown, and one as a wedding dress. The wedding dress will cost about 3 to 4 times more. It's literally the same dress, just with the magic W word attached. This is a real phenomenon called the wedding tax. Researchers have called different shops asking about the same white dress for an event. When they mentioned it was for a wedding, the price mysteriously jumped up. That hand-beaded detail they're charging you an extra arm and a leg for was probably done by a machine in about 15 minutes. But they'll tell you some artisan spent weeks lovingly sewing each bead while angels sang in the background. The wedding industry is desperate to keep this secret. They'll tell you things like, "But it's your special day," or "Don't you want to feel like a princess?" As if feeling like a princess requires spending 3 months' rent on a dress you'll wear once. Look for white formal dresses or evening gowns instead of wedding dresses. Check out sample sales where they sell off the floor models. You can get that $3,000 dress for $300. They're counting on you being too emotional to be logical. Number 1, funeral caskets. You're at a funeral home, still processing the loss of a loved one, and the funeral director shows you to the casket room. Suddenly, you're staring at price tags that would make a car dealership blush. The shiny mahogany casket with the plush interior costs $10,000. The premium metal one with the fancy handles costs $8,000. These fancy boxes cost them about $300 to make. You're looking at a markup of over 1,000%. And it's happening when you're at your most vulnerable. The funeral industry has mastered the art of using grief and guilt to sell you an overpriced box. They'll say things like, "Don't you want the best for your mother?" Or, "This premium casket really shows how much you cared." It's emotional manipulation, plain and simple, and that expensive casket is going to end up in the exact same place as the basic one, 6 feet under. Here's the most important thing to know. Federal law, specifically the funeral rule, requires funeral homes to accept caskets purchased from outside sources. You can buy the exact same caskets online from places like Costco or Walmart for 75% less than the funeral home's price. Some funeral homes try to get around this by charging illegal handling fees for outside caskets. They are not allowed to do this, and those fancy metal caskets they claim will protect your loved one, they actually seal so tight that as natural decomposition occurs, the pressure buildup inside can cause the casket to rupture. They are selling you a product that not only costs a fortune, but can also fail in a pretty horrific way, all by preying on your love for someone you've lost. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.